Okay. All right, everybody, get ready because we're about to take it to the mic. So first off, I need, as Nick Ricada would put it, leading with your mistakes. Okay, so and I'll repeat this later when people come on as well. I owe you guys a bit of an apology because last night I actually went through the this day in history for today for the 12th. Yesterday was the 11th. So I kind of screwed up there. So I'm going to remedy that by doing the 11th today. So kind of switch the 2 days around. Um, no, that was a bit of a mistake on my part. So, so with that being said, of course, let's get going into this first article here. So this is kind of a follow up to the DC layoff story that I did yesterday, of course. So what it says: former GI Joe writer Aubrey Sitterson calls for unionization of comic book creators after massive DC layoffs. So DC Comics layoffs. So yeah, so now they're trying to get unionized because they couldn't sell comics. So now they're gonna try to stick it to the uppers at DC, but let's see how the story goes here. Former GI Joe writer Aubrey Sitterson recently called for the unionization of comic book creators following reports of massive layoffs at DC Comics and DC Universe. In his call for unionization, he also criticized current corporate culture that he claims benefits executives over work of laborers. Yeah, yeah, um, blame the executives, blame the fans for the fact that you can't sell comics. Okay. Um, Titterson took to Twitter where he began stating, "I've seen lots of passive talk implying the DC layoffs were some unavoidable act of God, but that's not true. A group of executives decided that after profiting off people's labor for years, they'd profit somewhat more by kicking them to the curb during a global pandemic." Well, yeah, in a way, that's true. They would profit more because a lot of these people that you're talking about here were basically flipping the bird to the very consumers that they were trying to want to sell their comics to. Yes, in a way, it was an unavoidable act of God based on the very creator's behavior that you're not calling out. He continued, "Don't let your love for DC creators or books or dream of working on Batman obscure the fact that the layoffs were decisions made by people so rich they'll never have to worry about rent or health insurance all to protect the. Oh God, yeah, wine, wine, wine. It's all the evil rich white man's fault. All the evil rich white man's fault that you guys can't sell comics. Okay. See, no, not yet. Of course, they usually come in a little late. Okay. He then issued a call for a comics union. He wrote, "Love of the medium, the work, the people, the characters is weaponized against comic book professionals at every level of this exploitive industry, all to fill the pockets of board members at the world's biggest media companies. We need a comics union now more than ever." Yeah. Sound familiar, people? Sounds a lot like the Bolshevik Revolution. Not only did he call for a comics union, but he also called for a comics guild, stating that comic book freelancers do not have job security, have no ownership of the stories they write, and do not receive the actually, I don't think the second line there, I don't think it's true, because I think they do have ownership of the story. Um, they do have some ownership of the characters, but but they but the whole point of being a freelance, of course, you're not going to have job security, as basically because you're working as independent contractors. You're not employees of the company. Of course, there's no, you know, you're not entitled to a job. You have to earn a job, Mr. Sitterson. Sitterson explained, "We need a comics union and a comics guild." Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Sitterson explained, "We need a comics union and a comics guild. Freelancers are subjected to even worse than this, with no benefits or job security of any kind, and more often than not, no ownership over or even participation in anything they create." Well, here's an idea, Mr. Sitterson. Do what a lot of people have been doing for the last couple of years here. Go out, go out and do like Indiegogo campaigns. Go out, write independently. You know, like Even Van Sciver, like Mike S. Miller, like Doug Tenaple. You know, like that Umbrella guy. You know, Sitterson's call for unionization and the creation of a guild was met with a number of mixed reactions. One user responded, "I'm on the right. I think unions are a natural part of the free market. A billionaire exerts a lot of influence. A millionaire, a million workers should be able to pool resources and exert as much influence. I wish you luck and hope this union will be loyal to workers regardless of political views." Which they basically, this was from Narada Studio at Narada Cards, who said that. Basically, yeah, because the thing is, unions can be just as corrupt as as the corporate executives. This whole mafia mentality here. Many responded to Citizen, noting that it was too late to unionize given the current state of the comic book industry that continues to post declining sales numbers year after year. Mm-hmm. Which is apparently the part that he seems to be. Sager Ryman responded, "It's going to be kind of tough to set up a union in an industry in the midst of slaughter when there are few jobs to fight over in the first place by people who have little real value or clout. Even if you're pro union, it's too late. It would be as well to unionize Blockbuster." Yeah, that that go about right. Lord Tasman added, um, "Nice sentiment, but about 2 decades too late to unionize. Comic labor is not in a position of strength to in which to leverage any power. They were in the mid to late 90s, but not now. Not under larger conglomerate willing to cut them off." Mhm. Godot also responded, you don't have any leverage to push for higher wages or more benefits. When the comic industry is hurting as bad as it is, the money isn't there. Management is better off liquidating the assets and shutting down than giving you a raise. And that's another thing about the attitude of some of these people, of this guy calling for a union. It's like he believes that these people deserve a raise when sales are declining, and and the like. Michael Fairfax would state, the time the time to do that was around the time Image Comics was founded in the early 90s. The comics industry isn't it the shape to do? Isn't it the? I get okay. I think he's meaning to say isn't in the shape, but he typed it to do that. And Reginald P. Smithington Bear also stated, in order to unionize successfully, comics professionals would need to convincingly demonstrate that their services were indispensable ones, or at barest minimum, capable of generating substantial profits. Current DC Marvel sales figures do not support either of these, which is true. Well, first off, one of the things he's saying there is that are comics outright essential? Okay. Now I know some people, people can live without comics. Okay. People can live without comics. Comic comic professionals are not gods. Okay. They were to disappear off the face of the earth. I don't think a whole lot of people would miss them. Okay, so they're not that essential. Granted, they provide if they do their jobs right, they do provide some good escapism, which can can serve the society in a way, but they're not essential. Okay, for the most part, I don't think people would die if the comics industry would. I don't think there'd be like a mass suicide or whatever if the comics industry was to implode on itself. It'd be very sad, yes, and it would would suck for all involved, but it's not catastrophic. Um, Clownfish TV's Neon summarized the state of the comic industry in a recent video comparing the U.S. comic book industry to Japan's manga market. He stated, "You come over here and it is depressing as hell. The shops are closed. Diamond has a monopoly. You have overpriced pamphlets. You've got creators out there on social media running at the damn mouth, constantly getting into fights. You've got whisper networks of people trying to keep other people out of the comic book industry entirely because they don't like them because it's all about politics now." He continued, "It's not even about making product. They are not even in a business anymore. It's just about keeping certain people they don't like out of their lunch table effectively." And that is true. And anybody who's been following comics in recent years knows this. I know that Umbrella Guy and Yellow Flash have talked a lot about this. So that's exactly what's going on. Exactly. You know. Let's see if we have any visitors yet. Back. Hey, Mike, you're you're muted. No, oh, I was muted. I love my clownfish. Hey, Batgoat, just saw you. Okay, so just saw your. Okay. Well, thank you for coming in, Batgoat. Okay, so um, just to kind of, I know you just got in here, so I'll just kind of give you a quick rundown. I'm going this first article I'm going through. Um, Guy, I guess a former GI Joe writer by the name of Aubrey Sitterson is now calling for comic book creators to form a union. Give me a sec here. So let's see this last part. Is that the sunset? Oh wait, you can see. Yeah, it's yeah. I think the sun's setting. I mean, it's like 7:19 here right now, Batgo, and on the west coast. So yeah, the sun's setting right now. I guess you're seeing that in the background there, the reflection. Um, yeah. So thus far, and maybe when more people come in, I have another little announcement about yesterday and today's this day in each history, just because I realized something today, but I'll say it. I can see, laugh out loud. It looks cool. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I can see all the obstacles in my way. No more dark clouds of heavenly light. Gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. I bet you remember that song, don't you? That goat back from probably when you were young and. Uh. Okay, so back to the article then. Now that I kind of got you a little bit caught up on what's going on here, let's see. He later adds, "We've got all the dirt coming up now of all the people working in comics that are doing naughty things. Supposedly, we are canceling people every other day. You don't hear about this kind of drama in Japan. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it doesn't seem in Japan they are focused on telling. Oh, wait. But it does seem in Japan they are focused on telling good stories and making comics literally for everybody." Yeah, actually, one of the things I heard one time too is that really much of the media scene in Japan, um, much of the media scene in Japan, they don't even really talk politics. It's not like here, in the States with Hollywood, and they got to just interject their own personal opinions into every little thing. No, over there, I think they understand how to relate to their fans. They don't really get into politics. So Neon then states, "We have a lot of political minded people coming into comics and using the comic book characters as mouthpieces for their own politics, their own depressing politics. Most American comics now are depressing as hell." What do you make of Citizen's call for unionization and creation of a guild? Do you agree with him? Nice, sunshiny. Yeah. Well, what? Yeah. Okay. So I know you only caught maybe the last half of that article there as I was reading it back. Though, but what do you think of that? This guy Aubrey Sitterson was sitting there, saying that these creators who just got laid off should start a union. What do you think of that? Neon is my favorite guy for geek news on the Disney. Right. Okay. Okay. Neon is my favorite guy for geek news on the Disney front, and Disney and entertainment front. You are my favorite comic book voice actor guy and classic cartoons. Well, thank you for that, Batco. I always do my best to bring you guys you know the the news and stuff as much as I can. And um, granted, I don't currently read comics, but I might but I like to look back on older comics, go through the history of them. One of these days, I'm going to do a feature, almost taking you guys on a walk through the DCU over time, going all the way back to 1935. That's one of the plans I have down the road. Just don't know when I'll do it yet. But anyways, yeah. So basically, the gist of it is that as a response to getting laid off, this guy, or well, this guy didn't get laid off. He's just but in response to a lot of the DC comic employees getting laid off, he's calling for them to form a union. That's the gist of it. Give me a sec here while I. Okay, so let's see what else. You rule. Okay, I'm back to listening to news. Okay, let's see now. So yeah, so that was basically that's the first story I went through there. So there's about there's like 4 anime stories I'm going to go through here. There's 3 of them are about releases, but the next kind of big story here is this one. Report: AT&T looking to sell Crunchyroll for $1.5 billion. So this is the next story right here. Okay, so now that we okay, so as it states here, AT&T looking to sell Crunchyroll for $1.5 billion. Now, this is something that's been kind of a buzz for like the past few months here. This I know. I think Yellow Flash talked about this a little bit. Hero Hay might have talked about it a little bit. So here we go. Here's what this is stating. A new report details the AT&T that AT&T is looking to sell Crunchyroll to Sony for as much as $1.5 billion. The report comes from The Information, who cite 3 people familiar with the situation. The Information is the same outlet that had previously reported that AT&T and Warner Media were having discussions about selling Crunchyroll back in May. And we've been hearing, of course, a lot about Warner Media because of obviously some of the stuff going on with DC as well. Um, so let's go back to the article here then. Their May report detailed AT&T's Warner Media has had discussions about selling a Crunchyroll. I think they meant to say selling Crunchyroll. One of the buyers, the report detailed that they had discussions with was Sony. Of course, now we've been hearing a lot about this too, and I know again Yellow Flash and Hero Hey have talked a lot about this too. Sony is buying up a number of media companies, trying to become a big conglomerate in the anime dubbing industry. We've that's been going. That's been talked about quite a bit in terms of like how they have their hands in like how they're now the parent company for Funimation, for Aniplex of America and all that. So at the time, they speculated the reasons for selling the company were to reduce debt. The company had faced pressure to reduce debt from shareholder Elliott Management, but they had reportedly cut a deal with them back in October. However, that report from May also indicated that plans to sell off Crunchyroll might have changed with Warner Media's new CEO Jason Kilar taking over as well as a result of the ongoing pandemic. Now I know Jason. Now I don't know him personally, mind you, but Jason Kilar this guy's name been coming up in these articles quite a bit lately. So um, I think Warner Media also is involved with DC Comics and all the personnel decisions they're making there right now. There's a lot. I think looks like Killar was brought in to basically clean house. It looks like. Um, let's see. And of course, the ongoing pandemic. Everybody knows about that. This new report also details that Sony is the prime target to purchase Crunchyroll, and again claims the reason behind the sale is to reduce debt. Of course, Sony, of course, wants Crunchyroll because Crunchyroll has become one of the streaming outlets for Funimation. So, the information reports Warner Media's willingness to sell Crunchyroll, which has contributed content to the company's new streaming service, HBO Max, and been featured in its marketing. It also shows AT&T's willingness to sell valuable assets to bring down its $151 billion debt load. Yeah, I mean, you can't survive. You got a huge debt. I mean, it's like swimming in quicksand. They add AT&T has been looking to sell non-core assets to reduce debt. Among the other businesses on the block are Warner's gaming unit. In other words, cleaning house. If they're basically getting ready to clean house here. If you're not making a profit, you're not making money for them. Um, so YouTube's Clownfish TV host Neon um, would also state that's the thing. It wasn't the original plan to sell Crunchyroll, as I understand it, as of last year. The talk of last year was to roll Crunchyroll into HBO Max. So, so that was the original plan, they said. He continued, and now AT&T is in such a place right now. Warner Media is in such a place. It might actually benefit them to just sell it off if they can sell it off instead of keeping it. This report comes out just as Crunchyroll announced a brand new exclusive and I'm going to get to that in the next story. As I said, there's a few release stories down here as well. So in Jujutsu Kaisen, that will arrive on their streaming platform in October. It also comes in the wake of AT&T gutting DC. Yeah, and this is what I was referring to. What we talked about yesterday. It also comes in the wake of AT&T gutting DC Comics and DC Universe, basically from the story we were talking about yesterday. Um, it also comes out after AT&T senior executive vice president and CFO John Stevens boasting about their software-based entertainment like HBO Max and AT&T TV. As the information notes, Crunchy, right, Crunchyroll contributing content to HBO Max, and you get the nice picture of the promised Neverland. Stevens also noted that the company has also been working to address its upcoming debt maturities. A press release from AT&T claims, in addition, Stevens said that AT&T has continued to take advantage of low borrowing costs and rates to address upcoming debt maturities. Okay, I'm not a finance guy, so I'm not exactly sure what that means, but as a result, the company has reduced the amount of its debt maturing within the next 4 years by about $23 billion. an improvement of about 8 billion since the end of the second quarter. Um, that same press release also indicated that AT&T plans to evolve to have a focus on consumer demand following the successful launch of HBO Max. Stevens noted that the recent reorganization of Warner Media will accelerate the business transition to meet evolving consumer needs. At that same time, Warner Media plans to continue to invest in content, expand its reach, and scale and effectively operate its legacy businesses. In short, in short, bye bye, get woke, go broke. Bye bye, bye bye, get woke, go broke. Bye bye. What do you make of the new report? Do you think AT&T is considering selling Crunchyroll? What do you make of their alleged price tag? Any thoughts on that? Let's see. That's a lot of dough. Yikes. Geeky Geeky Sparkles is awesome too. Hmm. Get woke, get woke, go broke is the law. Yeah, yeah, that's and as they're drowning in it, you know, as they're drowning in it, right? They're back goat. They're drowning in that law. But I think, as I was saying yesterday, I think the higher ups have basically had it with the get woke, go broke business model. I think we're definitely seeing that. So moving on then to the next story here. These ones will probably go a little quicker because these are all they alluded to this in the previous article too. So um, let's release here. Um, it never fails. It never fails. Why don't they learn? Well, they don't learn because they were brainwashed. That's what it comes down to. They were basically told how the evil rich white man was out to get them when they were in school. So they just they just continued that. Okay, Crunchyroll reveals trailer for horror anime Jujutsu Kaisen teases release date. Look at that guy. Whoa. Actually, kind of reminds me of Hisoka a little bit from Hunter x Hunter. Crunchyroll revealed a brand new trailer for the upcoming horror anime Jujutsu Kaisen that will stream exclusively on their service outside of Asia. Not only did they drop the trailer, but they also revealed some key art for the series as well. Jujutsu Kaisen is based off the manga written by um, Gage Akutami um, that began serialization in Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump in March 2018 and has gone on to release 11 tankobon volumes as of June 2020. Here's some of the cover art, I guess. Give me a sec. Okay, Crunchyroll tells Bounding into Kind the series currently has over 6.5 million copies in circulation. The dark fantasy horror series follows teenager Yuji Itadori. Again, notice how in anime how the protagonist is a teenager. You know, I mean, on some level, it is kind of understandable. How people can get a little bit tweaked by that, but anybody who watches anime sees that the protagonists always seem to be um, the protagonists always seem to be teenagers. It seems like, or just about always. Few exceptions like Ghost in the Shell, but for the most part, they are usually anywhere in their 15 to 25-year-old range. Never fails. Okay, we already saw that. Yes, saw the story about HR department. Big wigs talking about avoiding woke hires. Things are changing. Yeah, and of course, as I was reading off earlier, former GI Joe writer came out and said, "Creators got to unionize. Creators got to unionize." Um, yeah, more mafia tactics, right? Anyways, let's see. Okay, as he finds himself engaged in a battle between sorcerers and powerful curses, he even becomes possessed himself. Here's the official description from Crunchyroll: hardship, regret, shame, the negative feelings that humans feel become curses that lurk in our everyday lives. The curses run rampant throughout the world, capable of leading people to terrible misfortune and even death. What's more, the curses can only be exorcised by another curse. And talk about being D if you do and D if you don't, right? Um, Itadori Yuji is a boy with tremendous physical strength, though he lives a completely ordinary high school life. One day, to save a friend who has been attacked by curses, he eats the finger of a double faced specter, taking the curse into his own soul. From then on, he shares one body with the double faced specter, guided by the most powerful of sorcerers, Gojo Satoru. Itadori is admitted to the Tokyo Metropolitan Technical High School of Sorcery, an organization that fights the curses, and thus begins the heroic tale of a boy who became a curse to exercise a curse, a life from which he could never turn back. Wow, that's an interesting take on things. Becoming the very thing you're fighting. That's a very interesting take, to say the least. Very, you know. Yeah, no kidding. Finger licking good. You're right there, Bat Goat. Finger licking good. Yeah. The anime series will be animated by the God of High School's MAPPA animation studio, um, with Sung Park directing. Crunchyroll further teased the series is expected to debut on their streaming service sometime in October. No firm date was released yet. Are you looking forward to Jujutsu Kaisen. What did you think of the trailer? You'll probably need to go look at the trailer yourself. Um, but that's not the only release that's coming out soon. Kind of gross. I guess for most people, yeah, seeing somebody eat a finger like that probably would gross a lot of people out there. That goat. Um, so moving on to the next, again, a couple more release stories here in the main segment of the show here. So um, these articles go through. So Gintama the final movie trailer and release date released. Official website of Warner Brothers Japan's Gintama movie um, not only revealed the release date for Gintama the final, but also released the first teaser trailer for the film. The announcement came on the birthday of Gintama's Shinmura Shinpachi, um, one of the franchise's three main protagonists. On the website, they detailed that the name of the third Gintama film will be titled Gintama the Final. It follows the first two films, Gintama the movie, which debuted in 2010, and Gintama the movie, The Final Chapter, Be Forever Yorozuya, which premiered in 2013. Final chapter, and then they have the final. That's an interesting take on things. Gintama, the final, is also being made with the full cooperation from Gintama's original manga author, Hideki Sorachi. Um, Not only is the film being made in full cooperation with him, but he will also be creating a brand new visual for the film and is expected to release on August 20th, later this month. So that's going to be a week from tomorrow, in fact. Week from tomorrow. The film will be directed by Miyawaki. In a translation provided by Crunchyroll, he stated, I think this movie is going to be amazing in many ways. All of us are working hard day and night to give it our all so that everyone who is looking forward to it can enjoy it to the fullest. Miyawaki continued, we hope that you will be able to enjoy it at the theater to find out how it's going to turn out. And we also hope that the world will be a place where we can safely deliver it to you by then. Anyway, I just finished drawing the whole storyboard for the film the other day, so I can't tell you anything good about it yet. The film will be supervised by Yoichi Fujita, Fujita, um, in a translation provided by Google. He stated, "I think it will be a movie that will be convinced to those who have thought that the retrospective animation Gintama is even more interesting. Adults, children, Onisan." Film's production had previously been announced on Saturday, December 21st, with voice actors Tomokazu Sugita, Daisuke Sakaguchi, and Rie Kugimiya reprising their roles as Sakata Gintoki, Shinmura Shinpachi, and Kagura. Let's see. Okay. Hmm. And according to this right here, the release date is set for, I guess, Friday, January 8th, 2021. And that's what they say here. Tama the Final arrives in theaters on January 8th, 2021. That's going to be well. I know it's releasing over in Japan first, obviously. Wonder how that's going to pan out because here in the states, a lot of the theaters are still more or less closed. So, hmm, yeah. So, anyways, and on to the last of the main stories here. It's about the Promised Neverland. The Promised Neverland confirmed season 2 premiere date and releases new key visuals. The dark fantasy anime The Promised Neverland has received two new key visuals. This is a part of a promotion for the two upcoming winter events centered around the popular series. The first new key visual was released alongside an announcement of the anime's second season premiere date. I'm wondering if that's the second season premiere in Japan. Um, Here's a larger photo below. Here's some of the photo work there. According to the announcement, the second season of The Promised Neverland will air Thursday on. Okay, so this is the Japanese premiere they're talking about. Will air every Thursday on Fuji TV starting January 2021. Originally, the second season was postponed due to COVID-19. The series had originally been scheduled to air in October 2020. Hopefully, by then, a lot of this stuff will be calmed down and stuff like that, even here in the state. The following is a teaser and announcement for season two's um, January 2021 premiere. And from the looks of it, looks like Maeve got stricken because you can see that's usually what happens. That's usually what they show you when something gets taken down. The video gets taken down on YouTube. Usually, what shows up there. It seems they took the loss of the October premiere in stride. That's because Fuji TV will also be rebroadcasting the anime's first season this October. Fans can relive the first season while new fans can discover the series before season 2, which in a way is kind of like it's kind of similar to what Toonami's doing with Fire Force. If you remember, we talked that last week too. Um, Fire Force recently, or at least the latter half of the first season, started showing to set up for the October dub premiere on Toonami. Um, um, hey, Mike, I'm gonna bounce in about 10 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that bad. I mean, this is the last main story, and then I was gonna go into the this day in niche history. Um, are you sure you can't try to stick to the end? Because again, I've been trying to keep these under an hour and a half anyway. So for the next few days, so I'm going to be going through a lot of stuff pretty quickly. But if you can, try to stick around because I will be doing a this day in niche history. Um, I might as well tell you this because I realized this earlier too. I screwed up yesterday. I actually yesterday was actually August the 11th. I gave the August 12th this day in each history. So I'm sorry about that. I kind of screwed up there. Um, but what I am going to do today is I've gone back and I'll do yesterday's today. So from yesterday and today, they kind of got switched. So hopefully, though, you'll stick around because I'll be um, I'll be doing that pretty much right after this article here. Okay, if you can, try to stick around because I know you like the this day in each history stuff. It's coming right up right after this. I'm done with this article. Okay, the second visual was produced for the upcoming Promise Neverland special exhibition. It was drawn by the Promise Neverland's original manga artist Poshka Demizu. The gallery exhibition is being held in honor of the manga's conclusion this past June with the publication of Chapter 181 in Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump magazine. The exhibition will be held at Tokyo City Views Sky Gallery from December 11th, 2020 to January 11th, 2021. So about a month then. And feature a wide gallery of exhibits, including original manga, drawings, behind the scenes material, and a 19-page chapter of the manga, which will be exclusively available at the event. Tokyo City View is also hosting a special Twitter campaign allowing fans to guess the content of the upcoming exclusive chapter for a chance to win free admission to the exhibition. Fans can participate in the Twitter campaign by taking the following steps. I won't read these up. I'll just show them to you real quick. Then let you read them yourself for a moment. So are you excited to see the return of the Promised Neverland? Will you be watching it? Okay, so that's pretty much. So we're pretty much done with the. Pretty much done with the. I'm doing kitchen chores right now. Gonna cook dessert in about 5. All right. Well, I just got finished with the main article, so I'll jump right into this day in each history. Your favorite part of the show. Um, Jump right into it here. And then I'll probably be ending this after that. Okay. So let's take a look here on this day in niche history. Today being okay. Well, technically, and I know I mentioned this to you earlier. Um, no, I mentioned this to you earlier. Actually, I'm doing yesterday's today because I did today's yesterday, so kind of got mixed up there. So, um, so here we go then. So first off, on this date in niche history, on this date in not on this date, but on yesterday's date, on the 11th of 1990, um, during an AWA show in Rochester, um, the Trooper and DJ Peterson would beat the Destruction Crew for the AWA World Tag Team Championships, and then Rock and Roll Buck Zumoff would beat Johnny Stewart for the vacant AWA World Light Heavyweight Championship. So that happened on this date in 1990. So then let's move on to okay, and then on this date in 1991, On this date in 1991, Rugrats would premiere on Nickelodeon on this date in 1991. So 30 years ago, then 29 years ago today, Rugrats would premiere on Nickelodeon. Um, then let's move on a little bit further, and let's see now. So on this date, or on the 11th, on the 11th of August in 1999, the 10th issue of the second volume of Amazing Spider-Man would be released on the newsstands by Marvel Comics. Marvel released Volume 2, Issue 10 of The Amazing Spider-Man. So that's all going on there. Rugrats, I remember that. Yeah, it ran from, according to them, it ran until 2004. So original. I'm sure it still runs as reruns now, but and then last but not least, for this day in each history, or this case, yesterday in each history, yesterday in each on August the 11th, 2004, the first of four tankobon volumes of the shoujo manga series Cactus's Secret was released on this date in 2004. That was 16 years ago. On this date in 2004, the first of four tankobon volumes, was released on this date in 2004. All right, Batgo. Well, we went just over an hour today. Um, I'm I'm gonna hopefully on Friday. That's when I'll upgrade on the system here to keep doing nightly services or nightly streams. Thank you for joining me tonight. Um, Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate the like and stuff. Um, kind of wish I wish we had more people, but I know that will come. I'll come soon. Great show. Thanks for the stream. We'll see you on the next one. Yes, I will see you on the next one. Thank you, Badgoat. And with that, we're out of here.